morning. Welcome to today's show, that is Siasa Wednesday. On New Day TV, on our socials, that is YouTube and Facebook New Day TV. Kindly come in, like, share, subscribe, comment. I am your host of the Tackle Show today, Chepkoech Towett, and I am joined by two gentlemen that might need no introduction, but for purposes of maybe those who've not interacted with them, I would request you guys to introduce yourselves and kindly what you do briefly before we get into today's show. It is going to be interesting. These are firebrands and powerhouses in their various capacities. So, karibuni, and thank you for honoring our invite this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Kindly introduce yourselves. Hey, siku hizi watu wanakuja hapa wameng'ara. Hey, wale walikuwa jana hapo wamedunga suti tena. Hey, guys,
umetoa shati.
Umesema ni wakati wa the tackle. You are about to tackle issues. Please don't tackle each other. Do not tackle each other. Let us tackle issues.
So my name is Githaiga. I am the Chief Inspiration Officer for Africa for Haiti. Africa for Haiti is an initiative that is Pan-African in support of Haiti, especially now that they're having all these crises. As you all know, Haiti was the first black republic in the world. Fought against the slave traders and the slave system. And this is where Africa began to believe in itself and began to see the future for themselves. Because if Haiti did not defeat Napoleon, if they did not defeat the slave masters, then I don't even think we would have had what we had, the civil rights movements in America, the African independence movement in Africa, and the liberation movements of all black people in the world. So therefore, we as Kenyans in Africa for Haiti feel that Haiti has been forgotten by the world and it's upon us. And that's why we would like to thank His Excellency the President, William Samoei Ruto. While he was attending the United Nations General Assembly last year, he committed for Kenya to go on the peace mission under United Nations Security Council Resolution 2699. So we are going there for peace and restoring law and order. As you all know, Haiti is being run right now by the gangs. Women are getting raped. People are getting kidnapped. That has to come to an end. Because Haiti, what they did for Africa, we must do it now for Haiti. Thank you.
Wow. Well, as you say, Chief Inspiration Officer, yes. What does that mean?
Basically, I'm there to inspire. I'm there to bring that motivation and also give information to the public. I know there's a lot of misinformation out there about why we're going to Haiti or why we're doing this mission, but I can tell you the whole truth. This is a genuine mission for the people of Haiti.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a powerful introduction.
Thank you very much. My name is Fanya Mambo Kinuthia. I'm a lawyer by training, but an interesting lawyer who doesn't go to court.
Why?
I have always believed in something called, people used to call it alternative dispute resolution. I call it appropriate dispute resolution.
Okay.
I run a firm called Kilimani Mediation Center. And all we do at our firm, you see there are 1.7 million cases stuck in court.
The backlog.
The backlog is crazy. So why would I want to become an advocate who is taking more cases to court? So my work has always been to help people to remove their cases from court, have a sit down and resolve them out of court. Right now I'm handling a 22-year-old succession dispute, which we have agreed upon. The courts couldn't do it. And so I've always told people this is the most appropriate way of resolving disputes. You know what I like, and I keep telling my lawyer friends, is doctors are very comfortable saying, I am a dentist. I only do your mouth, but I don't do your eyes. Yet the eyes are very near the mouth. The problem we have with many lawyers, they tend to think that as a lawyer, you must always go to court. You see the way surgeons, the doctors are comfortable with telling you, I don't go to theater. No. I don't operate people. And you still respect him as a doctor. Yeah. And he tells you, I'm a pediatrician. So this is now the message that we are preaching to lawyers and advocates and telling them the law profession is really big. And for me, I am telling people, before you go to court, come to Kilimani Mediation Center. There's chance that your baby daddy will kustaki, we can agree on how to raise the children appropriately.
But you are not nice, and because also, what examples are these you are using?
It's true. This is what's happening. Let me tell you.
Umesema tu ni watu wa baby daddy wanaenda koti.
More than half of the disputes I get are family-related disputes before you even go to commercial. a wife who could not agree with the husband, or a husband who could not agree with the wife about a child they sired together. So it's a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
And then you're going to tell a judge, now Githaiga and I are coming before you as a judge to tell you our problem, and then you decide for us. Whereas you can come to Fanya Mambo, you sit down, we agree mutually on something that works. And I usually tell them, like husband and wife, you don't like each other, you don't have to. Just let's agree mutually. I don't like you, you don't like me.
But what is the
But
best
we have a
interest
child together. So what do? Some of them even leave school checks in my office. Like,
deposit
you be the one to be paying school fees. Here is the check, because I don't want to see my husband, or because I don't want to see my...
irreconcilable
Yes, so where I sit, I am trying to help people resolve disputes out of court and to decongest our courts anyway. So this is what I do as a person, and I'm very
happy. Saw the CJ say that you want to go all digital, I think by July.
Yes.
And I don't know how viable that is.
It will be viable.
I'm not a lawyer, but I'm
most of the court
paralegal.
sessions.
And right now, as we speak, court sessions are digital.
Most of the times, lawyers will tell you I'm in court and he's in office. Then you think he's lying. But right now, as we speak, there are so many lawyers, and he can see all the matters in his laptop, and they are happy to be in court on their laptop. Thanks to, unfortunately, COVID. It was a bad thing, but also a very good thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's a plus for our judiciary.
Yes.
Now, thank you for the in-depth introductions. Yeah. We are going to take a look at today's dailies. And it is very grim stories on our dailies today, because some of the issues that are being raised will form part of our discussion today. That is the road carnage. On the People's Daily, I see their headline is the return of the road carnage. We have seen so many lives being lost lately, from schools and school buses and what have you. There was Kapsabet boys that had an accident in Baringo, Marigat, Cabernet Road. There was a KU bus, I think somewhere, Ikienda coastal area, and many other pockets of road carnage issues that are on the rise. So then there is also, on the Star, it talks about their headline is bankruptcy. Aisha Jumwa, the CS, faces 60 million suit. Wakili.
Yes.
Ulisema si lazima watu waende kwa lawyer, lakini hapa ninaona ni kama our CS.
But we now fight change position. Sorry.
No problem, Wakili.
Okay, sir.
You are allowed to converse with our producer.
Okay, sorry.
Mr. Steve. So there's that. There's the bankruptcy issue.
Yes.
Aisha Jumwa faces 60 million suit.
Yeah.
CS paid 145 million out of 215 million for Runda House.
Sorry.
No, there's no problem. So hapa ni maneno ya nyumba. 145 million she paid out of the 215 million.
Let me tell you. To start with, this person is paying 145 million what? For a house. How much is a CSA salary?
I think 1 point something.
They have not been in government for more than 2 years. So even if you were to take their salary cumulatively, for the 5 years, it would be 60 million. Why is somebody buying a house for 200 million? And these are the people who are preaching to us affordable housing. I think the first beneficiaries of affordable housing should be our cabinet secretary. Kila mtu apatiwe one apartment out of the affordable housing, because it's a way of showing that they believe in austerity.
Believe in it.
But you cannot sell things you don't believe in. You're not a consumer of affordable housing. I like President Uhuru Kenyatta. He used to tell us to wear Kenyan-made clothes. Alafu akaanza kumuita wa mashati. Because he bought all the Rivertex shirts. I think he took all the whole stock and put in his own house. But he was always in a Rivertex shirt. So we cannot have a situation where we have a minister telling us about affordable housing, the government telling us about affordable housing, and people like Aisha Juma buying houses for 200 million. What is a house for 200 million? What do they need it for? How many bedrooms does it have? And how big is her family to take a house for 200 and something million? It's not affordable housing. It doesn't fall within the hustler narrative. Hustlers don't live in houses for 200 million. So this is an insult to hustler nation. In fact, everything that it's unbelievable. You cannot earn up to 60 million in 5 years. Even if she was to earn her salary and never spend a shilling, it would be about 60 million. How are you buying a house for more than 200 million? Which bank will give you a loan you see, first and foremost, banks look at repayment ability.
Against what? Yes.
Yeah. So what is your ability to repay? If in 5 years you'll have made 60 million, why are we giving you a house for 240 million? A house for 240 million, you'd have to take what? 60, that's 60 months, that's 60 million. How many times? You'd have to be cabinet secretary for 20 years, non-stop.
And not spend a shilling, even
Yes.
one day.
Hakuna hata kununua chewing gum.
Hey. On the Daily Nation, again, the headline is Killer Roads claims 25 lives. So this is clearly a big issue.
Yes.
And in the KU tragedy, and rest in peace to the souls that we lost, and Paul to the families and friends. 12 students are among at least 25 people who lost their lives. There's the housing tax, hapo chini. Housing tax cuts start this month, which is also going to form part of our discussion later on.
Yes.
Too little, too late. New laws to tame road accidents. So clearly, this is a big issue. And that was the headline from the Standard. So I think that is where we will begin.
Yes.
Chief Inspiration Officer.
Yes.
What are we not doing right? I think there's a time we had seen these issues go down, the road carnage issues, and suddenly they are back, and in a very saddening way.
Yes.
So what has gone wrong?
Yes, first of all, I would like to pass my condolences to the students in KU that passed on, and the other ones in Kapsabet, and anybody else who has passed on this week or this month of March, caused by accidents. You know, accidents are one of the number one killers of the true potential, because, you know, they take people without discrimination. And sometimes those people who die in those accidents were actually, you know, destined to great futures. Myself, I lost my brother through a road accident in 2012. And he was a young guy who was 31. So you can imagine a lot of potential. He had so much going on for him. But one morning, you know, we just got the sad news that he was involved in a tragic accident. So this matter of tragic accident should be taken as a national disaster. It should be given the same impetus that we are giving the alcohol fight or any other matter, even like terrorism. Because we cannot continue to lose people on the roads just like that. I mean, imagine yourself being a parent, and a parent of one of the students who died in KU. When you look at the newspapers and the social media, the bodies lying down on that road, I mean, even you as a parent, you would faint and die right there. And just hoping that your child was not part of those who passed on. And don't forget, apart from the death, there is a lot of injuries that happen, serious injuries.
And those ones are even worse.
They're even worse because most of the people are left disability, and that kind of stuff. So for me, I call on government to do several things. And also I call on the people of Kenya, the drivers of Kenya. I do appreciate what the CS for Transport, Murkomen, came up and said that public service vehicles drivers should take their tests again, so that they can look at the level of competency. Because indeed, when you drive in public service vehicles, you know, most of the times, look at it, most of the times, the people who are in accidents are not most of the times private vehicles.
No.
It is always public service vehicles. Even the one for students is a public service vehicle. So we need to relook at how these people are trained. Secondly, we need to develop the right attitude about driving. You know, Kenyans have a very bad attitude of driving.
We have road
wanting
rage.
to overtake, impatience. You know, you wonder what the guy is like. Matatu drivers. He's just racing to the bus stop, but he's busy driving recklessly, going off the road, overlapping, endangering the lives of pedestrians. And when an accident happens, it happens. I'm from the central area of Kenya, and we normally say, Motino doe jaba. Yani bad luck doesn't know any warrior. It doesn't know any wanaume kwa hiyo. So once it happens, then we have loss of life. I also believe the matters of safety belt. You know, remember when Michuki came up with that? You know, people had discipline, you know, speed governors. we need to restore the speed governors. Drive on Thika Road when, let's say, I'm going to Mount Kenya over the weekend. Man,
It's
you
crazy.
see a matatu, it's a Nissan matatu pass you driving 120. You're like, what happened to the
Kwani
speed
I'm driving
governors?
at what speed?
Yes, and you as a private vehicle, you're being very cautious because in these roads you never know. The other thing is drinking and use of illegal drugs. That's another matter because that's personal. And when you're drinking and driving, you lose your consciousness. Your alertness goes down. So therefore, it is important that Kenyans themselves look at that. Another major thing is about servicing vehicles. The reason why public service vehicles go for inspection is to ensure that those vehicles are roadworthy.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be on the road. So, for example, if you hear a vehicle fail the brakes, does that mean they did not change the brakes while they were doing that? Another thing is limit long-haul driving and night driving.
I thought night driving had been banned.
No, it's come back. The problem is, and I really respect the police of Kenya, but however, sometimes corruption is also part of this thing. Because when a bus is stopped in a roadblock, okay, they remove the roadblock. So whenever the traffic is having a msako, they realize that this vehicle has no papers, no inspection, and they still, once they take the bribe, they allow that bus to move on.
They don't care.
They don't care. So that also needs to be looked into. And then the use of cell phones.
While driving.
Kenyans, please stop using your phones. In fact, if we had cameras in those vehicles like the way the minister was suggesting early last year, where we could fix CCTVs in the matatu public service vehicles, you'd realize a lot of these guys are using cell phones. And the minute you take your concentration off the road to answer a text message,
that's it.
Boom. And that's where you see most of the horrific accidents, you would find perhaps it was a cell phone being, because their impact that happens is so major.
Crazy.
Now, the solution, like you asked, what should we do? Use technology. For example, where we know there are black spots, have those cameras, have those bumps, have those reflector lights, have those warnings, and have policemen there. Like now, for example, NTSA, you'd only find one vehicle on Thika Road, one NTSA vehicle to cover the entire 50 kilometers from Nairobi. Right?
But remember, NTSA were on the road, and part of the reason why they were removed is they were told their mandate does not fall on manning the roads. Remember, there's a time the vehicles were quite present. And the other thing is, places like Salga have always been a black spot.
Yeah.
Ever since I was very young, I can remember Salga being talked about. You want to tell me successive governments later, we cannot find a solution for
we need to, like anywhere there's a black spot, the engineers, however good they are, they need to redesign these roads, especially where there are black spots, so that if it was the corner that was causing this issue to happen, or maybe another thing that is there, but sometimes black spots also, people say there is some magic witchcraft being used there, but that nonetheless, the use of artificial intelligence can inform us, the use of monitoring, the reason why you have a speed governor, the reason why you have cameras in those black spots is to be able to monitor, so that if in a black spot you can detect a bus is moving at a certain speed, the police would be able to take action. Because now what we're talking about is saving lives and preventing deaths and more road carnage.
Actually,
Wakili,
yes.
You have the contrary opinion?
Number one, I would like to start with something very different, because I am allowed to think very differently, and I never allow myself to think like every other person. I once spoke to a matatu driver, and he told me, wewe unaendesha personal. If one day I put you on this bus, you'll probably drive like me or worse than me.
Why?
And then I got to realize that there is those hidden things that we never get to address, which cause a lot of people dying, even in Nairobi, because the highest number of people who die are not in road accidents.
No.
They're pedestrians crossing the road. And many of them are hit by a reckless PSV or a border.
Rams into them and stuff. Yeah.
So I asked myself why. And I got to realize which is the most popular car on the road in terms of matatu. Isuzu. We have a Japanese car being sold to us by GM, an American
company.
Their markup is 110%. So an Isuzu that would have cost, say, for example, 3 million on the road, ends up being on the road at 6 million.
Double the price.
Then who's got the money to pay 6 million? Not every other person. So
Yes.
a bank heaps another 1.5 million on that car.
Interest, yeah.
By the time that car is hitting the road, it is 7.5 million shillings
Of money you
worth
need to
of money
repay.
you need to repay.
Yeah.
So what happens is the targets have to be crazy. Can you imagine collecting to 50s, kama fair ni 50 bob, until the day they will reach 7.5 million?
It's crazy.
If we had been a nation that cared about its people, we would have regulated in a way that that vehicle does not get to the road at more than 4 million.
So that we don't put
So
that
we have
pressure.
3.5 million less to recover. What would happen is, if a driver today has a target of, say, 10, 12,000 a day, they would have a target of 6,000 because the loan repayment is about 3,000.
So it eases the burden.
It
on
eases the
routes they need
burden
to
and
make.
the pressure on the road, the trips they need to make, and so on and so forth. Number two, and I've always said this and people don't take it seriously, the kind of leaders you have in government inspire the kind of direction that a nation will go to. I would rather fail on everything else as president, but never fail on selection of cabinet. Matiang'i, when he became Minister for Education, up to date we see a yellow bus and we know it's a school bus. Without being told, even the most stupid person will see a yellow bus and they know it's a school bus. Why? Because there came a leader with a vision and something different. Can you imagine, since Michuki died, may he rest in peace, the only thing we remember as regulation in the matatu industry is the Michuki rules.
Because he was
Because he
tough
was
on
a
them.
leader who
Yeah.
inspired confidence and brought a difference.
Yeah.
Kipchumba has been there for close to 2 years. There's nothing attributable to him. It doesn't even inspire confidence. It doesn't make even anybody remember who the Minister for Transport is. You struggle to remember who he is and you struggle to remember what he has done or one thing that can be associated with him. When you remember people like the late Minister for Education, the one who came after Matiang'i,
Magoha.
Magoha,
Yeah.
look
He
at
was very
how he
stern.
streamlined even the
Yeah.
marking of exams and everything.
We all remember
Our
that.
president failed at the inception of his cabinet. And so he will carry a very huge burden.
But we also
Because, for example, now look at the road carnage that is happening on our roads. Why does it have to get to the point where people die for them to react? Michuki never waited for anybody to die.
came
When
in
they
and
came
enforced.
up with the Michuki rules, I remember all the newspapers that accidents reduced by 83%.
Wow.
That is leadership. What we have now is not leadership. Is reactionary. It's knee-jerk reactions to what is. Kuna basi ya KU imeanguka. Retrain drivers.
not proactive.
We are not proactive. And we have nothing new. I haven't seen a 2024 idea. Let me tell you. I did part of my undergraduate studies in Tanzania.
Okay.
Tanzania does not have a stroke of genius in terms of how they regulate accidents. But guess what they do? They say, kama ni basi, a bus is leaving Nairobi at 9 p.m. Whatever you do, don't get to Mombasa before 6 a.m.
So you're regulated on the number of hours you have to
Even
be on
if
the
you
road.
drive at 190 kilometers per hour, if you get to Mombasa before 6
You
a.m.
have some explaining to do.
Yes. And they know Mtito Ande you're not supposed to get before a certain time.
Yes.
So what does the driver do?
Una
He
relax.
knows, even if you rush, there's a place you'll get to where you'll start slowing down, because if I get to Mtito Ande before
How do I
midnight or
explain?
before this, how do I explain how I got here this time?
Okay.
So there are many ways.
They are not reinventing
That
the
is
wheel.
that's a Tanzanian way. So we haven't come up with a Kenyan way. And the only time you hear them talk of speed governors is when somebody has imported containers of them. And he's saying now we need to change the speed governors because he knows the ones that will land fast are his and he's going to make money from them. And when you hear them mentioning cameras, there's a very high likelihood that those cameras are on the way and the person importing them is obviously not an Azimio or diehard, is probably one of their own.
Githaiga, I hope you're hearing
I'm
this.
listening. I'm listening.
This has got nothing to do with regulation. To them now, an accident has happened. How do we make money from this accident? And the first thing is we say we regulate all PSVs. And we start now punishing them for an accident that happened. But I think there has to be a 2024 way and a leadership that inspires confidence. Something that will be memorable from this government. And you know, when the Michuki rules came, everybody embraced them. Have you ever seen rules that people even feel happy and congratulate the minister? And walikuwa naingia bus, there was a lot of...
Unajua directly
yes,
what
you
you
do
need
your
to do.
belt and people are like, this is the best
But so
minister we
unajua
have.
shida ya wakili. Another thing is Kenyans, I don't know whether we are too creative for our own good or too opportunistic as well, because najua umepanda matatu at some point in your life.
I do.
Wezi wakaanza kutumia funga seatbelt wanakuibia. Unaelewa? Yes. So anytime you'd hear that, you know something is about to go down. Yes. And most likely something not good. But also, Githaiga, I come to you. It is good you've mentioned leadership. And the kind of leaders that we have in place. And in particular, the CSs. We just saw a story of Aisha Juma, the CS, and you've put a question to say, how can you afford this? Yet you've been in office for X number of years. You've also talked about CS Murkomen. But we also saw our president at some point come out to say that how is it that you guys, I know more about your ministry than you do.
Yeah.
What does that say? And what does that mean for us? Because Abukama president can cry foul.
He chose the wrong cabinet.
I tend to disagree with my friend here.
With the president?
No, with you. I tend to disagree with him on that part of leadership. You know, he's talked quite some amount of things here. But I want to say one thing. Road accidents, it is not Murkomen who has brought them to Kenya. Every year we've been losing, even when Michuki was there. Trust me, if it reduced, but not by a large percentage.
83% check.
Hold on.
You have your phone.
Yes. It's not 83%.
It is 83%.
Okay, anyway, that's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm just trying to say this. Even under Uhuru Kenyatta, there was still accidents. Michuki was 10 years, 15, almost 20 years ago when Kibaki was there. So we can't compare over 20 years and there was another regime that was there before. So therefore, you can clearly see that this problem has been inherited from the Uhuru Kenyatta government. I know you talked about the school buses being painted yellow. Private schools were already painting their school buses yellow. All he did was so that school buses can be easily identified. Murkomen, on the other hand, he's competent. He knows what he's doing. Just recently, he met the stakeholders, the transport stakeholders, the associations, all of them. And they raised the issues. And they came up with recommendations of what should be done. Number one, reduce corruption and harassment by police on these roads. Because if you do not reduce harassment and corruption by the police, these accidents will continue. Number two, implement the speed governor.
Githaiga, let me just cut you short. We have seen there's a cause and effect issue in this country. You cannot say reduce corruption, yet that same police, we all know how much they earn. We know their conditions of living.
Right.
We know their state of living.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So part of it's like it's become police and bribery and corruption have become one and the same thing.
Do you understand what police are supposed to do? They're supposed to regulate, not to take bribes.
That's what I'm saying.
They're supposed to control traffic. They're supposed to be there for safety, not to take bribes. Listen to me. Policemen have taken an oath of office. The day they took that oath of office, they knew the salary they were earning. Sawa. But however, the Kenya Kwanza government is in the pipeline of looking at those matters of police salaries and remunerations. Okay?
Taking them to Haiti, all of them.
No.
Thousands of them.
Let's not lose focus. If I'm given an opportunity to express myself,
let me allow you to learn.
Yes, exactly. You have to give me an opportunity. So what I'm trying to say is this, that the police need to be disciplined. We cannot accept the police taking bribes. Just drive around the roads. You see the unroadworthy vehicles. Even here in Kibera, just when you come from town, how many matatus do you see are roadworthy?
So many.
It is the police that are allowing them to be on that road. And that is why I'm saying, whether they are earning a less salary than other Kenyans, they took the oath to protect the lives of Kenyans. So the police need to be serious about their jobs, while the Kenya Kwanza government is in discussion to improve their salaries and also their housing matter. You understand what I'm saying? So number two, we have to use technology. For example, there's a management and improvement of driving schools. That's where it all begins. Some of these people, they don't even go to driving schools.
Alifunzwa tu na kweli yake mahali.
Huko na matatu driver mwenzake akaenda akahongana kwa polisi. Unajua always even test ifanywe na driving school.
No.
Inafanywa na police. Yet again, we're talking about corruption. Those policemen are allowing incompetent drivers into our roads. It is them That is why the Constitution foresaw that we need traffic police so that they can protect us as the other police who are protecting us against robbery, loss of property. We need the traffic police to be serious. The other thing is there are certain technologies that have come up. There's a dashboard for monitoring, which is not being used as it's supposed to be used. All these cameras that you see on the road while you're driving, those cameras are centered in a central base where they can monitor and also send the police who are on the ground to take action. So therefore, this government is doing all it can, but however, it is upon the Kenyans themselves to take responsibility. Those drivers need to be sober, those drivers need to be well-trained, those vehicles need to be roadworthy. You understand?
Maybe just one spanner in the works in 30 seconds. All I would say, one of the biggest mistakes we've made as a nation is sometimes we put on ourselves burdens we cannot carry. I was looking at this rule of 7-year-old vehicles coming into the country. Do you know if you had 400,000 today, you would import a very decent car that is 10 years old from Japan? Better than, but now unfortunately, because of our laws, and they have been there for a long time, I must admit, because of our laws, you have to import cars that are only 7 years old and below. Now, with 400,000, because you can't import that decent car from Japan, that is better in very good shape, very little mileage, you end up finding yourself buying now Mr. Githaiga's car that he has used here for 5 years. And the condition in which it is in is really bad. That's one of the things I have always said, that any government, the previous one, this one, or the successive one, needs to review. Because a Kenyan is left with a very bad choice. Most of the times, the amount of money you have at hand, unaenda hapa bazaar, unakuta gari za kina Moshiri hapo. Kuta gari za kina Moshiri ka Toyota 110 ka 1996, kamefanywa panel beating mara 10 na kanauzwa 420,000. That car has got a lot of shortcuts happening down here. Now, with that 400,000, it is possible to import a very decent car from Japan. Very decent, very clean, that could serve you for a very long time. So I think that's one of the laws that we need to review, and it would help us deal with this thing of having very unroadworthy vehicles, because some of the cars we see here and some of the things I see happening in garages, and then those cars are brought to you and they're told accident-free, never been hit.
Usiwahi hata jaribu. Wanasemanga driver, lady owner.
Yes. Another thing also, you have to realize that our courts, we also question our courts. Anytime the government tries to be strict, people run to the court and get those orders. Ex parte.
No, I'm a lawyer.
Returning us now back to the road carnage.
I'm a lawyer. So I'll tell you this.
1 minute. We're saying, as much as the government wants and is willing, and the president is serious about this matter, even Murkomen is serious about this matter, but anytime we try and bring strict rules, there's something going on in the courts of law. Because every time, just like the alcohol thing, we are closing bars next to schools. Then the judge says, open those bars so that our children can die. The same judge has said, oh no, that is so strict, you cannot say PSVs can go back for training or testing. Come on.
I'll tell you why. You see, whatever you do, do it within the law. The government that came, and like say this house the way it is, it's not fit to be a bar, for example. But somebody went to the county government and paid a fee for renovation of this house.
Into a bar.
And the person and the county government accepted that money. And they came and inspected it has been renovated into a bar. They went, they applied for health, all the workers, they were given. They applied for a license to operate a bar, they were given. Music, they were given. Fire, they were given. Everything that they were by government. Then they went and bought alcohol that has got the government sticker that they are paying excise duty. And they have been paying, every time they sell alcohol, they give a VAT receipt. You as a government, you will be stopped. It's the law of estoppel. You'll be stopped from stopping that person to run that bar. Because you created every step of the way, they followed the law to get that bar. If it was an illegal establishment, if somebody had come up here and crafted something, and even the alcohol they are selling is not regulated, is not got the stamp, they are not paying duty, they are not paying. Do you know, even outside the parking there, the county government is collecting parking fees outside that bar. Then you come and tell them, now we are closing this bar because this is a school. The law will not allow you to operate like that. And that's why you saw even the demolitions that were happening in Mavoko. These people were like, they had gotten even title deeds that they were borrowing loans from with the bank.
Yeah.
And they had gotten construction permits from the county. They had paid all the licenses. Nothing was illegal about it. So the only thing that was illegal was the government's demolition. So what I would say, our courts are okay with you doing any regulation, but do it within the law. But let me ask you, do you honestly think from where you sit that Kenya needs one more law to deal with our road carnage? Trust you me. If Kenya wanted to deal with road carnage, we don't need a new law. We don't need a new all you need to do right now is kama sasa tuseme gari kwa ndodhi ishikwe ipelekwe police station. Even if this person goes to court, what the policeman has done is done the right thing. The car has got worn out tires. It can be presented before a judge, and that person can be. So now, these new stringent rules you're coming up with.
No, you see, it's not even new stringent
and saying
rules.
You come up with cameras.
I want to point
out
for his point that he brought about, like the bars, he said. It's corruption. And that's why I stick to that part.
Githaiga.
And His Excellency, the President said yesterday, he's going to fight corruption completely, because this is the reason why they're opening bars in estates, because somebody went and bribed that officer who is giving him the license.
I like the transition that we've made from the road carnage into the illicit brew issue, because that was part of our discussion today. And I will touch on the policeman issue for both.
Yes.
You know, there's what is ideal. There's what we would like to happen. And there's what we know should happen as per the law. But there's also exactly what happens kwa ground. And that's why there's this term we coined, vitu kwa ground ni different. Because our police officers, even have taken that oath and knew what was they know what is required of them.
Yes.
But they choose not to do what is right. You understand?
Yes.
So the issue is, we need to stop being reactionary. Because on the roads, it is these people who allow all these things to happen.
Yes.
But they go scot-free. How many, hata ile wakati wa wanabastiwa na EACC, how many have we seen that now they are convicted, wametupwa ndani? You understand? So that also it serves as an example. As we move to the illicit brew issue, what is being fought is illicit brew, right? And the location of your, whatever it is, contraption of selling alcohol. But there's the issue of first, second, and third generation alcohol. Third generation alcohol was introduced to curb maneno ya changa, because the idea was it is cheaper than the rest, affordable, but also safer. Now, yesterday, someone challenged me and asked me, today I want you to bring a police officer into my establishment and ask them the difference between first, second, and third generation. What they will tell you is, yo pombe yote ni fake. You understand? So, just like you remember that time when Mutahi Kagwe was the CS for health and the directives he would issue, Kenyans would jokingly say, what Mutahi has said and what the police have understood are two different things. Kwa sababu polisi akipatana na wewe pale kwa ground, vitu ni tofauti. It is the same thing with Kindiki's directive. What the guidelines that have been given and what our police officers have understood ni vitu mbili tofauti. Because what it has now done, it has opened up avenues again for bribery. You get it? So the government is trying to do this to save Kenyans, to put us on the straight and narrow, but the police are doing the exact opposite. Iyo imewafungulia mwanya ya kufanya nini? Kukulia.
Can I tell you something?
Exactly.
I have always... The alcohol thing is very simple. I ask people, who knows a bangi factory in Kenya? Who knows a factory that makes bangi in Kenya?
But we know the smokers.
Can anybody come and point to us and tell us all our bangi is manufactured from here? And it is transported through this road. And it is stored here.
In fact, there's a woman who was busted yesterday.
Yes, so the question then becomes, are people still smoking weed in this country?
Of course they are.
A lot of it. They've even put it in cookies and all sorts of places. What I'm trying to tell you is that stopping the production of alcohol
will not solve the problem.
Will not solve the problem. closing bars, closing manufacturing. I have told you hakuna factory ya bangi Kenya na bangi inauzwa Kenya.
Kwa sababu
so the solution is simple. When you deal with the customer, the trade dies. I have always said, if I was Rigiji and if I was President William Ruto, we would get recovering addicts. We would get young men like me and him and a lady like you.
The solutions have to be wholesome.
And we start from children who are in standard 7.
Thank you.
And we start having a conversation with them on the dangers of alcohol and illicit alcohol.
And addiction.
And so on and so forth. So that by the time mtoto anafika form 4, which will be in 4 or 5 years from now, that child will have known that mimi sitajipata kwa mama pima.
And also deal with mental health issues.
Na sitaenda kunywa hizo pombe. Because once they choose, and I usually say it's very simple. Every parent, you are sitting in your house right now. I want you to decide on behalf of Kenya. Stop making it a state issue. To decide on behalf of Kenya that me, as Fanya Mambo Kinuthia, I promise Kenyans, I'll give you a son who is not a drunkard. And that son is my son. I will give you a daughter who is not a drunkard. And that daughter is my daughter. If we all make that commitment from where we sit in our houses today, tomorrow we shall have people who come, like in Germany, you have breakfast and a beer, and you go to work.
Yeah. And even kids as young as 14 in Germany, you can drink beer.
Yes, and they know this responsible drinking. So if we start that today, hii mambo ya Gachagua wachaneni nayo. Kila mzazi saa hii mwenye akona mtoto ako class 7, tuanze hapo. Na haseme wangu, I promise you as a nation, in 5 years I'll give you a responsible young man. And every woman and every man aseme hivyo, I am telling you the alcohol menace is dealt with. Because hata hiyo bangi watatengeneza itakosa mtu. Hiyo pombe, but at closing factories, you regulate manufacturers.
To what end, just a question, to what end, what are the directives and what also is our government hoping to achieve? Unaelewa? Kwa sababu we fight, let us also be honest. We know of friends, family, and what have you, that are addicted, that have lost lives, that have lost livelihoods. You understand? Watu wameuza mpaka mali yao na nini. It is a fight that is dear to us as Kenyans. Kama kweli unatakia Wakenya wenzako mema. And so, this fight needs, one, we need to combat it from all angles. Yes. Whether it's from the family angle, whether it's from the facilities, recovering addicts, rehabs, what have you, unaelewa, mental health issues, institutions to deal with that. Alafu sasa tukuja hapa kwa polisi na manufacturers. Because it has to be wholesome. The solution has to be wholesome.
Indeed, and I agree.
Ukifunga hii mwanya, wewe unajua Wakenya wenzako.
No, I agree with you. Obviously, this is a national emergency.
It is.
I mean,
it is.
We've been losing Kenyans due to alcohol consumption, illicit
and drug
addiction. So, alcohol use disorder. There is something called alcohol use disorder. When you become an addict, you have a disorder because it causes brain damage. It causes brain damage. Do you know even when you stagger, when you're staggering like this, that's already brain damage. You're losing your coordination.
Yeah.
So this alcohol dependency is something that we need to deal with fast. And I appreciate Her Excellency, the Second Lady,
Mama Boys,
Mama Boys, for what she's doing, because however small it looks, it will have an impact in the end of the day, because that's a start where you're dealing with the psychosocial, you're dealing with the mental health issues, and you're trying also to deal with the underlying issues. Remember, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto said we have over 4 million graduates who have got diplomas, who have got certificates and degrees, who are unemployed. They are idle. They are staying home. They are staying in the streets. Secondly, you have to also understand, I like what he said, there is also an aspect of parental influence.
And responsibility.
Parental influence. When your father comes home drunk,
every day,
and you're consuming alcohol in front of your children, without guiding them and telling them why you're drinking and why you as a child cannot drink, then you're the one who's leading your child into alcoholism. And most chances, research has shown that people who drink, who parents drink, the children end up also drinking.
Yeah.
Because you adapt,
and it's in your subconscious.
It's in your subconscious. You want to be like your father, you want to be like your mother, you understand? The other thing is peer pressure, okay? when these young people are together, there are some youth who want to influence others negatively. And others feel they are being inferior if they're not participating.
So I have to do it to join the club.
To join the club. The other thing in which I am fighting against, and which I hope the government will take serious, is alcohol availability. Alcohol is more available than water. Trust me. As we go to slums and buy to buy water in those jerry cans, alcohol is more readily available. I'll tell you why.
Why?
Open today's newspaper. Look if there's no advertisement for alcohol.
Of course it is.
While you drive on the highways, there's advertisement for alcohol. You remember Mutudho?
Yes.
He had come with Mutudho rules. It is actually against the law to put up those billboards for alcohol as the law stands today. You understand? So the government needs to put those measures to reduce the availability, because you see, in psychology, there's something
what you see
goes into the
subconscious. Yes.
And the repetition of seeing it gets in. And the way they put it, like now you can see Davido on Thika. Davido everywhere. It looks cool. He's doing, I don't want to mention the brand because obviously no other matters, but you can see the promotion. They're actually promoting alcohol to make it look like it's something good. Even though the small caption says excessive alcohol is harmful to your health, but on the other end,
fine print.
On the other end, it shows that, hey, you can be a cool guy, you can be a nice guy. The other thing is this, financial resources. I did a research in 2020 during COVID. And what I found out was crazy. Number one, and I have nothing against imported alcohol, but brothers and sisters, we are enriching those already established alcohol production companies in Europe and America and Canada and Australia, which were established 1700, who were actually part of the slave trade those days. We are the ones who are enriching them. We are a poor country in the third world country, and we're buying most of our alcohol from abroad. So look at how much money is going outside our economy. Secondly, loss of financial resources. Whether you're rich or poor, that money you spend, today in the morning as I was coming talking to the Uber driver, we were discussing about this alcohol issue. And we all agreed, alcohol cannot add weight in your body. Alcohol cannot make you a healthier person. Mambo ni kukunywa na kuenda choo. Haina faida kwako. For that simple minute, you feel good and you feel high. But once it goes, you've lost your money has gone, you made another person richer. Okay.
And you are a step unhealthy from
so
where you were.
This is why we have to support the government's war on alcohol, because we're becoming a drinking nation that is losing focus. If the country is not sober, if the majority of youth are alcohol consumers and drug addicts, or they're using drugs, where is the future for Kenya? So I support fully the fight against alcohol. And you know, especially for me coming from central Kenya, this is one place where alcohol has been dumped since the 80s. Our grandfathers, may I remember very well, and I'm not ashamed to say that, and I'm sure many of my fellow central Kenyans will say the same. We have seen our grandfathers drink, we've seen our fathers drink, and drink to wastefulness, sell their shambas, you understand? Breakages of homes. You understand? We're losing our family fabric, loss of lives. Until when? So that is why the government said enough is enough. And I commend His Excellency and the Deputy and the entire government and Kindiki. And it is a big shame. And that is why we as young people, and he's a lawyer, I don't even know why he's saying this, we need to have reforms in the judiciary. There was no law broken to save the lives of Kenyans. I believe those judges, there's corruption because the cartels, let me tell you, my dear, anytime the government tries to fight cartels, these are cartels.
They fight
back. There's an
back.
alcohol industry cartel. You know what a cartel is?
Yeah.
Those guys who are manufacturing those fake, illicit and contraband and counterfeit. Those are the cartels. So when the government goes to stop and put in its regulation authority, they run to court and bribe the judges, or they have influence over the judges. And this also goes to every other industry. Look at the tea and coffee. Immediately the government starts to do this, they run there. Look at education, look at health, look at what this country cartels, and really they have to know that this is a different government and it will fight these cartels to the end.
Wakili, kesi ilienda kotini. There's an injunction on that.
Yeah.
There was a ruling, the High Court yesterday.
Yes. Mwita.
Yes. So
The same Mwita.
umesema jina imekuwa moja. So what is the issue? Why are they stopping it? Because we are all in agreement that there's a problem with the alcohol addiction and consumption and what have you. What are we going to do? What do you people
Number
want us
one,
to do?
I have never seen a government as insincere as this one.
Elaborate.
You see, go and check when they took over power. There is a licensed alcohol manufacturer who had been banned by the previous regime, and his brands are known. In fact, he had the highest number of brands of those funny brands. The first thing they did was reinstate his license, and you all know his name. And you all know now he's holding a very big position in this country. If you don't know, do research, she'll tell you who they are.
I know who you're talking about.
So you cannot come here and shout and sweat and talk about how this government is trying to finish alcohol. Because you cannot finish alcohol by getting the person who made the highest number of killer brews, reinstate his licenses, allow him to open his factories, and then start wondering why people are dying of alcohol. What is wrong with your heads, you in Kenya Kwanza? You look for the person who had been credited with many very, very, very bad issues with regards to alcohol consumption in this country, and a huge number of brands that were behind his name.
Actually, what had happened there,
listen.
let me just talk about, wait, just one second, I beg of you, because it's an open discussion. That gentleman you're talking about was part of the state capture that was happening in Kenya. You see, anybody who supported William Samoei Ruto or Githaiga, their businesses were being closed down. These people were being hunted down. Look at Keroche. I don't know what interest Uhuru Kenyatta has in that Carlsberg company that is coming to set up in Naivasha, because they have been fighting Keroche with fake things, and even this other gentleman that you're talking about that we don't want to mention his name, they were fighting him. There was a serious fight against any supporter of William Samoei Ruto.
Let me tell you something. I wish they had said he sells alcohol, but they found out that he sells milk. This person is selling alcohol,
No, he's a major shareholder in Kenya Breweries, and it's a known fact, brother.
Relax. His alcohol is not Kenya Breweries. So he's been selling those contraband alcohols, and we all know that, and he was known. I wish they had come and said, the state capture, huyu mtu anauzanga maziwa, lakini amewekelewa anauza pombe.
Ama hata kama anauza pombe, ni pombe legit.
Yes,
that is
but
different.
now, you just come and tell him to stand on a national TV and list his brands of alcohol. Na azipeane ziende to a private lab, you'll be surprised at what results you see.
But what the government is saying, if that happened, if that mistake happened, because you see at that time, they had to
I have
put
not
back
interrupted
these companies,
Listen
because most of the companies that were stopped were being fought by the previous. But now, if that is the case, if they have gone back to manufacture illicit or contraband or counterfeit, then they be closed.
No, listen to me, Githaiga. And you need to understand me very clearly. I have told you that this person was associated with selling bad alcohol. You have come with your own mouth, you have said that he was supporting President William Ruto. Not me, you have said it. And I want to remind you.
I have not
if you are a Bible-wielding president,
you have no proof of him selling bad alcohol.
My friend, if you are a Bible-wielding president who is bringing Benihin to this country to pray for people to get other things, among other things, husbands, why do you want to be supported by people who are selling alcohol? Give me my chance to speak. I'm not interrupting with you. So listen to me.
Wakili.
No,
be nice.
Yes, this fella. So you cannot be a president on one hand who says very many good things about the Bible and everything, and the people who are supporting your campaigns are these ones. And then when you come back, you're saying you're fighting alcohol and you reinstate their licenses. Even the church was not happy with that decision. And I think they need to apologize to the church. Because by the time this person was having his factories closed, their churches had made a serious contribution and said, fulani ndio anaua watoto wetu. pombe yake inaitwa 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and it is associated with him, please, and the state closed them. Now, the person who wielded the Bible the most came and said, this person was my supporter. Why are you accepting? You know, even me, today, if I wanted to be president, and a drug baron came and said, I'm going to finance your campaign, do you think I would accept his money? I would rather never be president. Because when I become president, the drug baron will come. No, he will come and say, I supported you. And for that reason, I want you to open a channel for me to continue selling my drugs. Now, having said that, I wish to tell you this, that as I told you, all these other things you are doing, the bulk of Europe right now, some breweries are closing down. And they're not closing down because people do not have purchasing power. They're closing down because the young people have gotten to a place and they're saying alcohol is no longer cool. It's no longer the in thing. It's no longer exciting. It's no longer my thing. The only angle from which any person will successfully fight alcohol is from the angle of the customer. When you get to a point when you've created in people a contempt for alcohol, and they're like, I can take it or I don't mind it. But for as long as there is a customer, that's why I started with the idea of bangi. My friend, bangi imeshikwa Band Forest, imeshikwa Mount Kenya. Ni wapi bangi haijashikwa?
Are you forgetting that woman in Ngara?
Yes, na haijaisha, madhe, haijaisha. And that's why I'm saying, fighting alcohol from the source. Don't blame the police. Let me tell you. No. Even when you remove the police from this,
they're
look at the US.
Supposed to regulate.
Look at him. Where do we have the highest
I am looking
drug?
at him.
Yeah. Where do we have the highest rates of drug abuse in this world?
US.
It's in the countries where we have the best police.
Yeah.
So stop blaming our police. Because the person taking the drugs is not the police. You're telling the police
No,
to...
I'm not.
Listen to me.
You're misconstruing,
Understand.
and I think you've talked for too long.
No. This is what I want to tell
I
you.
think he's talked for too long. Let me just put this clear.
It is your chance.
Let me put this clear.
Yes.
I'm not blaming the police. Like I started by saying, I'm in support of the police. What I'm saying is their discipline.
They need to be
They have
held
taken the
accountable.
oath of
To serve
office
and protect.
to protect and serve Kenyans. So when they allow, and the other thing you heard even the president saying, you cannot be serving in the police and run a bar and own a bar. That's conflict of
And a
interest
matatu.
direct. And
Na uko na matatu kwa barabara.
Na uko na matatu. So that chaos will never stop because even your matatu,
You are part of the chaos.
he has to be part of the chaos. So that's what I'm trying to say. I have nothing against the police, but what I'm saying is, police, you need to regulate the consumption and the production of alcohol.
There's a woman
As much as we want to compare Kenya with other countries abroad, they are far much more advanced. The youth are probably into something else, where we haven't reached. Okay, but what we are saying is this: vijana tafadhali, stop the consumption, overuse of alcohol. Drink responsibly if you have to drink. But what I will tell you, and I'll leave you with this message. Most of the young people don't even have houses, but probably they have land, which they're inheriting, let's say in the rural areas. They're inheriting from their parents. One stone for building costs 10 shillings in Darugo, in Thika, or in other places. When you buy that quarter for 300 shillings, how many stones are those? 30. So young people, every 300 shillings you're spending on your quarter, those are 30 stones for construction. So kindly start thinking of where you're going to start investing your money. Because by drinking alcohol, you're actually wasting your money and your future. And even so, your health. The cost of health for alcohol-related diseases and alcohol-related deaths is so high upon the taxpayer and even families. Families are spending thousands of shillings taking their children to rehabilitation centers so that they can stop alcohol. And I do commend Deputy President Githaiga. He actually came in public and said that his brother was an alcoholic.
Yes,
you understand? So the reason why Githaiga is fighting this, it's personal to him. And he cannot see the same fate while he's in power that happened to his brother, happened to all the youth in Kenya.
Okay, let's quickly move on from this issue because I
but
feel
in
like...
30 seconds, there's something I can say. Just 30 seconds.
Wakili, 30 seconds.
You cannot tell people, like the police, not to own a matatu and be a policeman, or not to own a bar and be a policeman. And I can tell you, I can list for you UDA nominated MPs and senators who own a chain of, in fact, even the brand is known, Wines and Spirits in this Nairobi. They are selling a lot of them.
Wakili, you woke up and chose violence.
And there's a lot of them also, same UDA bandwidth, who owns a lot of betting companies that are also finishing our young people. If it is wrong for the policeman to be in regulation and to own a bar and a matatu, it is also wrong for a member of parliament, whether they are elected or nominated, especially in the ruling coalition, to own a Wines and Spirits. So, kama wewe ni mtu amechaguliwa na hii chama ya UDA na mnataka kufight alcohol, kesho ufunge Wines and Spirits yako na bar zako zote, and then once you close that, we shall see that you are sincere about ending alcohol. But you cannot be selling alcohol to people. And any person in this government who is selling alcohol anywhere, you own a bar, you first sell it or close it, because that's where it begins. You cannot be telling people, fungeni hizo bars ingine. I think they are closing other bars to create market for theirs.
No, Wakili, let us not make unsubstantiated comments.
In fact,
now,
let me come back to that.
No, I know you mean.
Mine is not 30, mine is 15. I just want to say this. It is the law. Conflict of interest. Police have taken an oath. All right? They are not supposed to be doing that because they're the ones who are regulating. They are not allowed to do that. The other thing is this. Business, it's also a business, for people to run business. Kenya is a free state, it's a free economy. People can run business. And it is very wrong to say that it's Kenya Kwanza people running those bars. It is not. Any Kenyan can own a bar.
On the same issues of law, we saw the housing bill. Finally was signed yesterday, is now law. And there are still questions arising from that. And there's the question that I feel like it never goes away, the fairness in the deductions. And so what next?
You see, one thing you have to understand, this housing issue is a clear need for Kenyans. When you hear that 69% of Kenyans live in slums or in deplorable housing, I mean, don't you have utu? Hamna utu wa Kenya. We're thinking for the first time, the government is taking this matter of housing seriously, as provided in the Constitution in Article 43. It says, provides that every person has a right to accessible and adequate housing and reasonable standard of sanitation. Yes. In Kenya, I have the facts here, 1,141 slums in Kenya. The cost of buying water in those slums is 172% over the other people living in the suburbs. 45% more expensive for electricity people living in slums just because they don't have decent housing with piped water and sanitation. Okay? So housing is actually a social right. So therefore, it is important that Kenyans stop believing in the propaganda of people like him and others who go out there lying so that they can fight every program that the government of Kenya Kwanza is putting in place.
Githaiga, on that note, hold there because there are two questions. There's some comments that have been posted on our Facebook page, that is New Day TV, by Joel Arama. And Joel Arama has said, black spots, he's giving, I think, a suggestion. Black
What's
spots,
the page again?
New Day TV.
Okay, thank you.
He says black spot use divided dual roads. And then he says they are not supposed to regulate. I think he's talking about the police. Get it right. Even MPs, CSs, and senators took an oath. Then he put but ... I think what you just raised. And then this one directly addressed to you, Githaiga. He says, Githaiga let the government use the right channel. It's called parliament to enact laws. And then again, Githaiga, you seem to use scapegoating and level accusations without any facts. Once again, Bwana Githaiga, police don't regulate, they only enforce. I think he means the law. Now, Wakili, you had something to say on
the housing issue sometimes. I like how Kenya Kwanza chooses what is constitutional right and what is important. If I was president today, the right to water, access to clean water is a bigger and more fundamental right than the right to housing.
Where is that water going to go? It doesn't make sense. Come on, no. That's
okay, allow him to land.
Okay, but where is the water? Where are they going to drink
allow
it?
Him, just as if you had your chance.
The water has
allow
to be
him
run
to
into
land.
taps.
See, this is the problem we have with such people. The
It's
whole
not
of
such people, it's Githaiga.
Turkana, the whole of Marsabit, the whole of Garissa, and the whole of our rural areas where we come from. those people continue using water. Kenya Kwanza has gotten to brainwash people that water has to be put in an apartment of some sort and there has to be a flushing toilet. The bulk of Kenyans, wherever they live, it is dehumanizing for somebody to walk for 5 kilometers, 7 kilometers, 10 kilometers in pursuit of water. The right to water means you need access to clean water at a place close to you. So the first thing that we should have done as a priority, national priority, because if you stay for 24 hours without water, your health will deteriorate. If you stay for a week without water, you will die. In fact, 80% of you is water. But if you stay in a ramshackle for 5, 10, 15 years, you will not die.
Without
so
water?
What I'm trying to tell
Without
you...
clean water?
We are not talking about clean water. Please understand me. What I'm trying to tell people is, for the Kenya Kwanza administration, making sure that every Kenya has access to clean water, like what Buddy did when he was governor for Nairobi. Instead of having people worshipping a governor who brings water in a tank, branded his name, he was bringing a tank close to the shopping center where somebody goes to buy milk, they know there's a tap there, and they used to sell water for a ridiculous price of 1 shilling just to make sure it's not free.
Because
but people
again,
used to
it's
get
a cartel as we
yes. know it. No, the Buddy one was different.
No, I'm
yes.
saying the water issues.
Yes,
within the
yeah.
estate.
Yeah, cartels, there
So
you
that's
go.
what I was saying. So for me, when you come and start banging tables and saying the right to housing is a fundamental right, I think the right to clean, affordable drinking water is a bigger fundamental right to the whole world than housing. Number 2, and that's why I take now great exception with this whole idea. The bulk of those houses are being built on public land. Now, you cannot build on public land and then sell, because that land then ceases to become public land. You've seen these places like Ofafa Jericho, Ofafa Maringo that they want to upgrade. When you come and take public land and build houses on public land, the best you can do is rent them out. Kanjo has a lot of public land on Jogoo Road. Why have they not sold those houses? Because that is public land. Because now what they are doing now, you come, the land first, we have not heard of them buying any land. They are not buying. They are using our land, public land. They are building, using our money on public land. And then they are selling to us at market price. So
And I
it's
have
not
a
making
question on
sense.
that while we are on it.
Yeah.
Housing is a devolved function.
Yes.
In all this, I have not seen...
Yeah, it's there.
Now,
Counties-
what they've done...
I'll respond to
Counties
you on that.
coming
No,
in.
counties are there.
And
Counties
now-
are there.
I have not seen NLC coming in.
No, they have formed
What
what
they've
is
done-
called county housing
They've
committees.
gone and now
The
tried to
amendments,
make
part
the
of
law
the amendments.
Okay.
to appear like... They made the law to appear like it now conforms. But housing remains a devolved function.
Okay, Githaiga, you have a chance.
Yes. So basically, starting by what you just said.
Akona notes aliandikiwa usiku na Kenya Kwanza.
Mesema alikuwa revision.
Hapana, see, Ivo, I have to get the facts right.
Ali-
Right,
Aliandikiwa.
that is true. We are
So-
here to ensure that
And we're informing
give
people. We
the
are
right
not here even, you
information.
see, this is not an argument.
No,
It's
no, 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 no.
informing mwananchi.
That's
This
true.
is
Awe
a
soma
model
notes za
of,
Kenya Kwanza.
Wakili woke up and chose violence.
Sasa.
Peace was not an option.
What I'm saying is, you see, when he's talking, he says I'm interrupting him, and he does the same
No,
thing.
I'm encouraging
he
you to read
no,
notes.
No, you're trying to distract me. So basically what I'm saying,
Kwanza hii
I'll
ni
start,
handwriting ya Sudi.
Wakili, stop
sorry.
confusing Githaiga, please.
I want to start with that part of housing
Housing
is devolved.
devolved
Actually,
function.
part of the remedies to the other act that was repealed is that they had not involved the counties.
counties.
Now with the new amendments, the counties have their say. It's called county urban housing committees, which will also be getting 0.5. You see, government will be keeping 1% of the levy, and the counties will be given 0.5%. So from 1.5, government keeps 1%, and counties take 0.5, because even counties have their land. Like Nairobi County is constructing affordable houses as we move. So therefore, counties have not been left out. And the other thing I would like to point out, it is a right for Kenyans to have decent housing. It is a misnomer, Nairobians and Kenyans, especially those of you who live in slums. I'm sure this guy lives in Karen, some suburb, some top house. You can see the way he looks. He has no sense of feeling. Mambo kwa ground is different. He's saying that you'd rather live in a shack, yeah, and drink water. No, what we are saying is this. we want to improve your housing condition and give you dignity in your houses. Imagine, he doesn't know. When you go to the slum today, it's a 1-bedroom. It has no tap, it has no toilet, it has no spare room. The only difference you have, and I like what Governor Sakaja said yesterday at State House, is a net dividing the mother bedroom, the mother and father's bed, and the children. When they are doing their mambos, the children are seeing everything. You understand? That's not dignity. When your wife has to put on a towel or a lasso to go to the public shower out there and the other men salivating on her, that is not dignity. So what this government, the number one thing we're doing is giving dignity, restoring dignity, which the other government failed to do rightly. And the other thing we're doing is we are ensuring that Kenyans have decent housing. For example, with 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, which is affordable. Just yesterday, the president said, even those guys who have the mama boggers who are earning 3,000 they pay rent of 3,000. That is what they'll be paying for their mortgages. You understand? So there's nobody who will be left out in this matter. Everybody is going to be looked after. And let me tell you, Kenyans, this guy is saying he wants to return you back to go and fetch water in the rivers. Because unless you have piped water, that piped water has to go to a tap. And that tap cannot just be anywhere. It has to be in a house. So he's lying to Kenyans by telling them we need clean water. We already have sources of water, but we don't have, we have to pipe that water and put it into an infrastructure, which is a house. So therefore, Kenya Kwanza is right by what it is doing.
You see, this person is lost and he's losing many others with him. Because first and foremost, you cannot come here and tell Kenyans that you are trying to bring dignity in their houses and saying that the other administration failed. All the houses they have launched until now are the ones that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta started. Theirs are yet to be opened.
Then why are you fighting
so
out?
No, you cannot.
It doesn't make sense. No. You see, he's rightly by what he's saying. But why are they fighting William Samoei Ruto's project?
Let me explain to you something.
If they say Kenyatta did it, why are they not allowed?
Let me explain to you something. Now, so don't come and say that regime did not do it because they are launching their houses. But number two, they did not tax Kenyans the way you people are taxing Kenyans to build houses. To the point of...
The law provides that there has to be a national housing fund. It's the law. It's in Vision 2030. You see, these people are used to propaganda. There is nothing wrong with having that levy. It is provided for. In fact, Uhuru Kenyatta was not able to put it because he's a coward. William Ruto said he has to put the lives of Kenyans first. No matter what bullet is thrown at him, he's ready to receive it.
I've donated another 3 minutes.
No, go on.
Wakili, you cannot donate.
No,
you have to donate through the chair.
No, you see what I'm telling him is this, yeah? And he doesn't like to hear the truth. You know, when you're not saying truthful things, sometimes you find yourself shouting a lot. And me, I usually tell him, just raise the content, not the volume. This is what you need to know.
Hey, Wakili.
These houses, we are not saying that Kenya Kwanza building houses is a problem. Go look for money from wherever, build houses. Then we shall buy. But this thing of making our lives impossible, including doing extra constitutional things at times, you know, there's a time they even backdated the payments. You know, things that have never happened. You bill people for something that was not low at the time when it happened because they even backtracked the deductions. They're in a hurry to take money from Kenyans. So I keep saying you have made affordable housing in the eyes of Kenyans unlikable. It was a good project, but you people, by your chest thumping, mupende musipende, tutajenga, you have made Kenyans hate those houses.
It is not.
And what you need to hear, and what you need to hear, and I'll always tell you all the time, leaders have won more by persuasion than by forcing things. And that's why Obama became a very good president. He was a persuasive president. He won people to his side. He made people see things from his perspective. What Githaiga is doing is not strange from what I've been seeing Akina Mungatana doing on TV. You shout, and you're just forcing something on Kenyans that Kenyans would have bought if you didn't force on them.
If you give me a chance, Chair.
No.
Now, Chair is taking back
1 minute,
control.
just very fast, Chair.
I want to give you...
Very fast
on
30
that
seconds.
Point.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds, but I want to put in a question. So when you finish your 30 seconds, we go in. Okay. So I want you to finish, and then talk about Haiti.
Okay, thank you. So basically what I'm saying is this. The housing matter is something that has to go. We have to have houses. Yes, it's not a joke. Kenyans are living out there in slums. We cannot accept.
No.
Okay,
Kenyans
30
have to be
seconds are
given
over.
decent housing. Number 2, the houses that we're constructing for the Kenyans, it's so that they can live a decent life. Don't you want other Kenyans to live a decent life? Don't you want Kenyans to feel proud of who they are? What's the problem with that? And the other thing I would like to point out, this is the same people who are calling William Ruto Mwizi in the campaign time. These are the same people, wait, not you, I'm saying this opposition because he's an opposition. These guys are the same people who are saying when the fuel prices were up, they were saying it's in Mawongo. When the unga prices were up, they were saying haitezekana. When the dollar was up, they were saying it cannot go down. Has the dollar gone down? Has unga gone down? Same thing about these houses. Kenyans will come to see the truth, that these people are out to tarnish the Kenya Kwanza government and they have not accepted defeat up to date.
Can I support him?
Close of
Instead
discussion.
of fighting him? I actually want to support him that things have gone down very much. You know, I like to congratulate this government and I clap for them every time I have an opportunity.
Wakili, I see where you're
Because
going with
things
this.
have gone down.
Nothing. We're talking about prices of
I
goods.
see where you're going with this.
No. We're talking about, come on, take control of this discussion because now it looks like we're losing.
look.
It's like it's becoming
And that
a
is
comedy.
why I
It's
had
becoming a
said.
comedy.
That is why I had said.
Listen,
And
it's becoming a comedy.
Wakili.
So we're going to have a bad argument.
Wakili,
The show is
give
not
me
going
a
to be
chance.
productive.
Wakili, give me a chance. Githaiga concluded the matter on housing.
It's not on
And
housing.
I want him.
You can't give me a chance to
tell
support
us-
him.
I will give you a chance. I
don't need the
I
support.
want.
It's false.
I want Githaiga because he's very passionate about the Haiti matter. And he's also part of an organization, a Pan-African organization that is supporting Haiti. So tell us more. And there've also been issues raised by Kenyans.
But look here.
On the Haiti matter, Wakili, chair
Have
is
some
speaking.
respect.
Chair is speaking
You see,
on the
these
Haiti
people are always out of
matter.
order.
And
Kenyans, unaona wale watu mnasema wanaweza ongoza. Hawezi ongoza mali hapo.
anyway, so the issue has been one, Haiti as we know it right now is a lawless state. And it is by design because Haiti is a very rich country. Haiti, if left to their own devices, and if they are left to govern themselves and to decide for themselves what they want, it is a prosperous nation. Because as you rightfully introduced the topic, it was among the first countries to gain independence.
First, actually.
First.
Yeah.
But also on the flip side, our police, and I like to compare it to the Baringo issue. It might be simple thinking, but the kind of artillery that the gangs use, the kind of experience, the language barrier, as we know, they took over the airport. So even just the small issue, for example, of where are you going to land, you understand? It might be very simplistic, but it is a fundamental issue. The kind of capacity that our police have, are they equipped to handle such kind of conflict? And hapa Baringo tumeona, kumekuwa na shida over the years, and not just Baringo, the Amaya Triangle, that is touching on Baringo, West Pokot, and Samburu.
That place.
Yes. And Kindiki has tried all remedies, I think with the Ministry of Interior, but we still see the issue persisting. Here we are sending our police abroad. And then also the mandate within law. Are we, because the issue of law again was raised, the process. So it is not people running to court to want to stop government, but sometimes the processes that are used. Then there was the question of money that was raised, because we saw the US giving 14 billion, and Canada, I think, was willing to give 8. Then there's a risk of our sovereignty as a nation, because this was more a US-led mission, because I think when we heed to some things from the Western world, we open ourselves up for, it is like a Pandora's box. You do this, then next, what next? You understand? And to what end? So those are some of the concerns or issues that I would like you to touch on and to just give your comment and your analysis as you know it, as someone who is involved directly.
Thank you very much. So basically, as we start with the facts, how this came up, how we are ending up to go to Haiti, it was through the United Nations resolution.
UNGA.
Yes, not UNGA.
No,
Security
it was, I
Council.
think, the Security Council in the
United
UNGA
Nations Security Council Resolution 2699, through an appeal made by the Haitian people, when they say they need support and intervention. And the United Nations unanimously voted. I think only one country abstained, which was Russia. However, then they requested the state parties, which are the members of the United Nations, to contribute to this mission. And Kenya government, because of its long-standing international peace missions, like, Kenya has undertaken 44 peace missions globally, restoring law and order. Just nearby here at in South Sudan, we're talking about Somalia.
Now,
we're talking about Congo.
Speaking of law, we also have treaties with those countries, and we have agreements. We have embassies there. We have high commissions there.
Yes.
But with Haiti,
we do have now, that's in the past, we have diplomatic channels.
Relations.
We've opened diplomatic relations. And actually, during the acceptance, when the president of Kenya in the UNGA, during UNGA, they met at the sidelines, and that was the first establishment. Haiti has had many issues with governance. They have lost 3 presidents who have been killed by those gangs.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of turmoil in that country. And like you said, perhaps it's by design, but we don't want to get into that now because of the resources and all. We are looking at the people. How are the people? It's about the lives and property of the Haitian people. So therefore, once the Kenya accepted, and I want to also commend the other countries, there's about 12 countries also from the CARICOM, 2 from Africa, that's Senegal and Burundi and Kenya. Kenya is only leading the mission because of its expertise. You understand? Kenya has done several missions globally. So we are the best police of international. We have experience.
Is it police or army?
No, you see, even police, even here in Somalia, we're the ones who are training their police in Somalia. We're the ones who train their police, give them that capacity that they require. And remember when we were going to Somalia, right now Somalia has a stable government, even though terrorism is another matter. The other issue I would like to point out is this. There is no country in the world that is being run by gangs. They all have governments. So therefore, it is a global call that we can, the family of nations, the United Nations, cannot accept, because Haiti is part of that. It's part of the UN. So we have to intervene for Haiti. You as a lady, as a mother perhaps, if you're in Haiti today, you look at the number of women who are getting raped. Did you see what happened a week ago when the gangs raided the jails?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if that was to happen in Nairobi industrial area and all the other jails and freed? What would be happening? Lawlessness. But because it's lawlessness, the world cannot fold its hands and say, let's leave the lawlessness to continue. Something has to be done. And I'm glad Kenya took up that position. The other thing you have to understand, part of this mission, we have people from the CARICOM countries. These are the neighboring countries. Jamaica, Bahamas, Antigua, and others who are part of it. Even just the other day, Brazil is saying that they will look into it. Those are countries that are neighbors, and they are also contributing to this mission. And they also see the need of this mission. So therefore, it is important that we go, but like the president said, and I would like to commend P.S. Koril Singh-Owe when he came up with that statement and said, until we have a stability. And what they're working on right now is a kind of a national unity. Even though the gangs are there, they want to form what we're calling a presidential council, which will be an inclusive thing. Perhaps even these gang things will come to an end. Perhaps there will be a negotiation that will happen that we don't have to see more laws of lives, going on in Haiti. Therefore, it is important you understand one fact. These gangs have no ideology.
Of course they don't.
Sawa. These are young youth who are unemployed. What they have is access to dangerous weapons. But they're not like the Pokot you're talking about, who are born and trained to use those weapons. These are people who are probably using drugs, who don't have any ideology. There's nowhere where they want to take the country.
But when is the last time Haiti was stable? Because even with Jovel, was he called Jovel?
He's spoken too much. Let me tell you something.
Prime Minister.
Brother,
let him finish. I raised some issues, yes. So I would like him to finish.
So
then you
basically,
can respond.
People like us in Africa for Haiti, we're looking at the cultural diplomacy, the soft power. You know, Haitians are just people like us. By the way, do you know Haitians? They have matatus like ours.
Yeah,
they're called tapatabs. They are well-designed graffiti. They just look like us. So we have similarities in our cultures. You understand? So we feel that apart from the mission, which is the law and order, we as an organization are going there to support and to look at where we have correlations, to build those cultural correlations so that we can establish proper, linkages between Haiti, Haitian people, and ourselves.
Capacity.
What do you mean?
The training that our police has, is it adequate?
Yes.
For them to be able to combat some of those gangs? Because I follow some documentaries.
There's various things you have to understand. The US is providing logistics and technology. Okay? You know there is surveillance. Like, for example, if you want to know who is where, the US can find you. You understand? Like I'm saying. And the other thing you have to understand, Haiti is not one gang. Every town has a different gang. Only now they are trying to call it coalition of gangs.
No. What I meant is our police. I have no doubt to the kind of artillery that the US can provide. But I am asking, huyo polisi wetu ataitumia vile inafaa kutumika.
Wacha nikwambie, Kenya kuna different police levels, okay? There's different police. There are units of police.
RDU.
So RDU, rapid deployment, RECI, GSU, all these police. So we're not taking the traffic policeman to Haiti. We're taking the well-trained combatant policeman who is trained, who fights even now Al-Shabaab in Kenya. You know about the RECI and those people. They are the ones who are fighting Al-Shabaab even in northern Kenya more than the army is, okay? So we have the capacity. Kenya has the capacity. The police are well-trained. And more so, even now as we speak, they're in training.
Okay.
For close combat.
Wakili, the legalities within the deployment.
Sorry, before I finish, there are no illegalities anymore. Because what the judge said, Mwita, he said that until Kenya establishes
diplomatic
bilaterals with them, and that is what happened. And the Prime Minister came and he signed that document. But however, until now,
he could not go back to his country.
He resigned, okay? But now, because there is a momentum going on to form the Presidential Council, which will now give the legitimacy to that mission.
Okay, so I know you are saying there are no legalities, but Wakili, what are your concerns on the deployment?
Most of the times when we are signing
diplomatic
relations with countries, I have seen our president is right now one of the most traveled presidents in the world. I wonder why our deal with Haiti was not signed in Haiti. That would have been a good starting place because it means it is safe for our young people to go. If it is not source for the goose, it cannot be source for the gander. This should have been signed in Haiti if it was a good place for our people to go. Number two, if the USA wanted these gangs in Haiti to disappear, remember Osama bin Laden? They took Osama alone, and we've never heard of Osama again, and they buried him at sea. Who is barbecue? Who is barbecue? Who is barbecue for the US? So when you think about the Americans telling you they are giving you 14 billion to go into Haiti, whereas they know if they wanted barbecue, they would barbecue him.
Right from the
They've
source.
gotten Osama. Listen, no, I did not interrupt you.
Let him finish.
Let's continue. Now, the first place is... No. Yes, today, let me tell you notes.
Train of thought.
This place that you are calling Haiti is the size of Isiolo. It's 27,000 kilometers square. Isiolo is 25,000 kilometers square. The US, with its superior army and the proximity to Haiti, if they wanted to go into Haiti, they would be in Haiti.
So what do you think stops them
So
from
what
going?
I am telling you is this. I am telling you what is happening is this. We as Kenyans are being put into a fight that does not belong to us. And we are being used to stabilize a nation that we do not trade with. And a nation that we are trying to struggle and say they look like us, they have matatus like that. That's the only correlation we have with them.
No, cultures.
So
What do you mean so? They're Africans, they are our brothers and sisters.
No. That is not a good reason for us to take our young men there. Number 3, our police to people ratio is horribly wanting.
What do you mean?
We are under.
We are under.
Not,
the UN
the
standards is supposed to be 1 to 485.
400,000.
No, 1 to 485.
We are 1 to 1,000.
We are 1 to 1,000. So already we are under-policed.
lacking.
We are thoroughly under-policed. And we are taking now another 1,000 men from a country that is under-policed to go and police other people. I ask, is this a Kenya Kwanza government or a Haiti Kwanza government? Because the Kenya Kwanza idea would have been, we have bandits in Kapedo, we have bandits in Baringo. You saw an MCA crying the other day on TV saying, tunamaliza mazishi, tunaenda mazishi.
No, there's an MCA in Samburu who was actually killed, a sitting MCA.
Exactly.
Amezikwa kama 3 weeks
yes,
ago.
and they keep saying, mnatoka mazishi moja, munaenda ya pili. If this was truly a Kenya Kwanza government, they would take 1,000 policemen and deploy them to Kapedo and Baringo and the whole of that area until the place is clean. Then when you are clean, you can go and sweep other people's houses. I cannot leave my own dirty house uncleaned. I have dirty laundry. And then I take all my young family and tell them to go and clean my neighbor's house. This is where the mistake is. There's nothing wrong with going to Haiti if you have already cleaned your house. There's nothing wrong with going to Haiti if you have been able to take care of bandits. But when your own elected leaders are being killed, when people are burying 200 people in a month in parts of your country, and you're busy talking of bandits in other countries. I mean, worst case scenario, if I would suggest, let's sweet talk the bandits. We send the bandits there to deal with bandits, and we are left with our policemen here. It's the bandits that we don't need.
Point of order, please.
Now, let's continue. I keep saying that the problem we have in Haiti is a leadership problem. It's probably not even a combat problem. And because we have very competent cabinet secretaries, Aisha Jumo is competent, that's why she's in cabinet. We have Moses Kuria, he's very competent, that's why he's in cabinet. We have a very competent cabinet. I think we need to donate our cabinet to Haiti to go and provide leadership, because the leadership problem. They go there and provide leadership in that country. And maybe Haiti will become stable because we have proven that we have competent leaders. I have always said, what is sauce for the goose must be sauce for the gander. I cannot be the president who will take you where I cannot go. I cannot be the president who will send you to places I wouldn't go myself. I've told you if Haiti was good, the deal to secure Haiti should have been signed in Haiti, not in Kenya. So let us not take our young men where our old men would not go. And I have always said, whenever there is a conference happening anywhere in the world, Githaiga will tell you, you always hear, hey, government people are fighting to go there for that conference. You sometimes even hear stories of them
This
carrying their girlfriends. No.
That is not moral.
Right now, there's a Haiti issue going on.
This is
How many
immoral.
people are fighting to
It's
go there?
immoral.
No. It's not immoral.
Let me tell you.
No, I won't allow you. Let me tell you. It's my chance. Let me tell you.
You're taking too
We
long.
cannot have a situation where you are comfortable choosing, you're in government. You're choosing where you can go, and your children and your mother and your son, and even in terms of diplomatic missions. But the children of other people, you choose where they go. If it is a good place, let it be the kind of place that some of our cabinet secretaries, the way they carry the flag to Olympics, would accompany our policemen and go and flag them down there. We cannot have a situation where we are choosing as government and saying that because this place is beautiful for some people, it is not good for some of us.
Madam
It
Chair.
has to be good for all or bad for all.
Wakili.
Yes.
Now,
Otherwise, it is contrary to Constitution.
Now let
Article
me provide
30.
leadership in this our head
Yes.
here, because
Yes.
clearly we have 5 minutes. I am going to divide it into 2.5 minutes each. And I want you to make your final remarks. But as you're making your final remarks, Leo ni Siasa Wednesday, lakini hata hatujaweza kuongea siasa. The matters have been very weighty, but all the same, they are very important issues that Kenyans have to know. Information has to be passed and dissected from both sides of government.
Yes.
I mean, that's why we have opposition. It is to put you in check.
Indeed.
As you give the information, they also counter.
Indeed.
Nataka uguzie, tumeona kidogo pale kwa exit ya baba to the AU, which we are hoping that he will get, the AUC, chair for the AU Commission. And we've seen the candidature is solid. East Africa now is going to front a candidate. And we hope that we vote as a bloc, because what has always ailed us as East Africa, we never vote as a bloc. I don't know why we don't like each other like that. Because I think even when Amina Mohammed was running, hapo ndio hitilafu kidogo ilitokea. She was not backed right from home, EAC. And if Baba goes to the AUC, what does that mean for ODM? Because as we are seeing it right now playing out in the various meetings that have been happening, there's a tussle between the former governor Joho and Oparanya, that each is accusing the other of having a better political base to take over from Baba. And do you think even if Baba gets AUC, he will come back to in 2027? Because I don't know how it is looking and what that means. So as you respond, remember 2.5 minutes.
I'll take 10 seconds just to touch on that Haiti, because I need to close that on my side.
Yes.
I just want to say this is a law and order peacekeeping mission to Haiti. And Kenya has done over 44 missions globally. So we know how to do this job. Secondly, the issue about America being so close is true. America has also been in Haiti for quite some time, but it didn't work out. And because of why? Because people think that America is coming to colonize Haiti. And that's why it's an African CARICOM mission. That's why CARICOM is also part of it. So this is an African Pan-African-led mission. It's not about extraction of anything in that country. We're there to ensure that this country doesn't go down to the dogs completely. Do you want to see another Rwanda so that then we can say, oh, we should have done this or that? No. What we're saying is that Haiti has to be supported and Haiti has to get to its level where it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Now, Raila Odinga, what a breath of fresh air, indeed. The right man for the AUC. Job. This is the person who has fought not just for Kenya, but also for Africa. He has a good CV even in Africa, Pan-Africanism. He is a person who is committed to seeing the African person rise. So therefore, it is right for him and for every Kenyan who's listening to support Raila Amolo Odinga. And as you've seen, never before. You remember the propaganda that was always there, changing, calling Raila names, this and that. That has all changed. It's no longer politics. Sasa ni uongozi. Tumeondoka, and that you can see even where William Ruto is taking this country. Kenyans, we have to commend William Ruto, because rather than having a handshake with Raila Odinga, he knew that Raila Odinga is a suitable person for the AU. And it is the Kenya Kwanza government that nominated Raila Odinga, not Raila Odinga himself. And you've seen how it's uniting. I know you've talked about the East African thing, but you can see right now there's no competition apart from the lady from Somalia. Yes. So Raila Odinga, this is your moment, and perhaps God had destined you to become the AU chairman at this time, so that then you can lead Africa out of the problems that Africa is facing. As you know, majority of African countries are much more poorer and in much more worse conditions than Kenya.
The neocolonialism.
Neocolonialism. If you look at the Francophone countries,
Mali, Burkina Faso,
Burkina Faso, Mali, they've had to have coup d'etats, and that's not the direction we have to follow. So Raila Odinga will bring an impetus in the AU and ensure that Africa remains united together.
Correct. Wakili, kwani notes zimeisha?
No, I'm happy because I know IEBC is not counting votes at African Union, so that's a good thing.
Wakili, you just had to.
Number two, Raila Odinga is a good candidate for that position. We pray that he gets it. Well, it's still not confirmed that he will get it, but we pray that he gets it.
Yes.
And we wish him well. I have always told people that forget Raila Odinga. even if it was a Kenyan I did not like.
The fact that they are Kenyan.
When they go for Olympics and they are wearing a Kenyan
We are
t-shirt,
all cheering.
we all forget that we have our home differences.
That's
and we
true.
say we have
That's
a
true. We
candidate
unite.
in a Kenyan flag, in a Kenyan t-shirt.
That's true.
And we all rally behind them. So we wish him well. And we hope that Africa will be transformed by his leadership when he gets there. Then back at home, of course, it will be difficult without Raila Amolo Odinga. We know his contribution to our politics. And we know what he has done for this country and continues to do for this country. And that's why some of us, young as we are, unknown as we are, and without resources as we are stepping into that gap to keep the government in check. Otherwise, things would go berserk. I mean, I'm already happy and I'm celebrating the lowering of prices on many commodities, which I wanted to support him and he refused. For example,
Wakili.
No, but now, see, I'm finishing. You gave me 2.5 minutes. I'm almost done. Like, you find fuel at 159, you take it to 220, you bring it to 199, you go on Land Cruiser, you tell people to celebrate you.
Subsidies. They had subsidies. That fuel would have been 230.
Okay, guys.
You had your 2.5.
We went through this.
And so on and so forth. So, I mean, it's good you come, take something, make the prices 200% higher, reduce them by 30% and cause people to celebrate. We are doing well. The dollar was 120. We took it to 160. It's at 135 and we are asking people to clap. I'm ready to clap because it has come to 135 from 160, but we know it was 120.
Because
so those are things we can always do.
They had overvalued
so
the shilling.
We celebrate the achievements. We celebrate the lowering of prices.
Is stable according to the natural forces, not the overvaluation that was done by the previous regime.
You will always interrupt and shout, it's okay. Kuna elections at UDA, you should be there. You'll be needed there. You'll make a lot more noise there.
And there's something I also want to point out about Haiti, just very fast. Right now that Raila Amolo Odinga has joined, is going to win. And we know he's going, hopefully. But you see, what has happened, he's been given an advantage. Because the meeting that was held recently where Musalia Mudavadi attended in Ethiopia, they said that the AU seat has been reserved to East Africa. And I don't see anyone enigmatic like Raila Odinga to defeat him on that. So we can actually call him Raila Odinga the AU chairman.
I like
in waiting. Elect in waiting.
Correct.
Because he has no competition from ECOWAS, SADC, and North Africa. So this will be a straight win. But one of the things I would like Raila Odinga to do, previously Haiti had applied to join the African Union, but it was not successful. If we go to Haiti as Kenya and we help Haiti stabilize, I seek Raila Odinga kindly champion for Haiti to join African Union. Haiti needs to be anchored by Africa so that Haiti can be supported 100%. Because you see those people who are in Haiti, they're actually from Africa. They are our distant cousins who are taken by slave ships from Africa, even Kenya and other parts of Africa. Because Kenya was also affected by slavery, quite a lot, right? So we pray that Haiti gets stable. And even one other thing that we're doing is creating global awareness about Haiti. And we're also going to be starting something called like for building that awareness and also to assist the Haitians. Because right now they need aid. They don't have food. They don't have running water. We need to do something to assist them. And very, very soon we'll be making a big announcement because we're going to have Haitians musicians coming to Africa, Kenya, so that we can now begin to see what Haiti is for, unlike the eyes of my brother, who is mocking them, who is laughing at them. But we at Africa for Haiti will continue to stand with Haiti and will continue to support His Excellency William Samoei Ruto in this mission for Haiti.
All right.
I believe it will happen.
Gentlemen,
it will happen very well.
Minutes.
It will happen very well because, we had the Handshake brothers. Now we have the NADCO brothers. So with the NADCO brothers, anything is possible.
Guys, thank you so much for honoring our invite. And I would like to ask you to make your final remarks. But knowing you people, you will want to. So final remarks, 30 seconds, kindly.
Final remarks from me. I'll start here by saying the reason Kenya is at a better place now, we have a lot of peace, is because after all the successful governments, the last one was the Handshake, now we have a NADCO government, which is now running the show. And the NADCO brothers will lead us to prosperity as long as they continue working together. Whether one will be out of the country or not, as long as they continue working in brotherhood. We have NADCO brothers, and I thank you, Museveni, for taking them to graze cows in your place. There was a much deeper handshake than has ever happened. Whether people want to agree or not, there was a very, very deep handshake. And that is why you have now the president supporting Raila Amolo Odinga in his bid for the AU.
Okay.
I would like to say here,
your
without
final
fear
remark.
or favor, Kenya has the most intelligent president in Africa. The way he has managed even to not contain, but to bring Raila on board, and without a lot of hula baloo, this is a proper intelligent president. And I'm certain that Kenyans will grow in confidence of His Excellency William Samoei Ruto as time moves. And as you can see, prices of things are going down. The dollar is stabilizing. As you know, the Kenya shilling was overvalued. When Tsuge central bank governor said that the Kenya shilling was overvalued, people beat him down, especially this opposition. But you can see now the natural forces of our economy are starting to stabilize. Right now, the Kenya shilling is stabilizing against the dollar, against the euro, and against other currencies globally. So therefore, we're in the right trajectory, and Kenya is going places.
All right. You have heard from our two guests today. That is Edward Githaiga and Wakili Fanya Mambo Kinuthia. They are firebrands, very passionate, they believe in, and also very passionate in the sides that they support, the sides of government, whether opposition or government. So thank you so much for honoring our invite, and I hope to have you soon. Lakini this time tunakuja na guidelines, rules and regulations. like we said, we are over legislated, but yes, we will legislate this space. Anyway, that's on a lighter note.
Madam Chair, you see, he wasn't even interrupting you. That was out of order.
Anyway, but I love it. I love the passion.
His hair is competing with yours. It's too much.
When I see young people, really,
yes,
my fellow young
kinky
people,
African beautiful crown hair.
Are we not finishing the show?
And he's jealous.
All right, Steve, cut these two off. Steve is my producer. So for your podcast needs, I would like you to go to Instagram on our channel that is Podcast Planet. And there you will find all your needs. So whether it is podcast recording, live streaming, voiceovers, shooting of ads, and any other needs that you would have, or any other queries, just end up to my message, someone will get back to you. And thank you so much for tuning in to our socials and our pages, that is New Day TV on YouTube and on Facebook. And the show is called The Tackle. So see you tomorrow, same place, same time, though tomorrow will be a diaspora show. So sisi tutaonana on Friday, sheria wiki hii. Mahali tutapambana na maneno ya sheria. So thank you so much and have a blessed day. And have a good day ahead. Enjoy.